Hi, everyone. My name's Austin. I'm helping out with this XDC dev sprint from the Crack Labs side. I'm one of the co-founders over here at Crack Labs. And today I'm going to kind of help you get up to speed with deploying contracts onto XDC, token contracts. And then I have Vlad, who's also a partner over here at Crack Labs, and he's going to help walk through spinning up an Eliza agent and how all that starts to work together. So if you find yourself having a lot of questions kind of on where to begin, maybe you're a dev that's coming out of Web 2 with a lot of ideas, trying to dive into Web 3, this is a great place to start, get you up to speed and running. So let us begin here. I'll share my screen. To, in particular, using Foundry to deploy a token. So if we look here, we have that documentation, creating and deploying an XRC20 token using Foundry. You can follow this or do it as you're most comfortable with. In this particular case, I'm using Foundry just because I have more experience with it recently than Hard Hat, but there's a ton of different ways to do the same thing, right? So to get started here, what we're going to want to do, hold on just a moment, juggling monitors. um, First, we want to make sure that we have the dependencies that we need to set this up. In particular, in this case, Foundry uses Rust, so make sure you have that installed. But after that, all we have to do is come in here and if you go to the Foundry docs, getting started, you see it's pretty simple. Just a simple curl command to get that started. So it looks like that. You launch it, you're good to go. And then after that, you should be able to run Foundry up. Oops, one moment. All right, crazy. Well, that's supposed to run. Hold on one second. What did I do here? Yeah, that should do it. Well, here, let's see real quick. That ships with a package called Forge. Okay, yeah, sorry. I was using the wrong command. So Foundry has a few different packages in it, right? It has Forge that we see here. That is used for compiling, building, deploying your contracts that you build. Another thing you'll often use is Cast. And if you see with Cast, this allows you to do on-chain transactions, all of that, check your balances, quite a few things. So you just want to make sure that that install command works by running forge and then cast. If you're seeing this, you're good to go. So let's go ahead and start a project here. I'm just gonna do it on my desktop to keep it simple and make sure. Let's just call this XDC demo, right? So let's move into there. And we're going to create one more directory, and let's call this contract demo. And let's go ahead and open that in VS Code so we can see what we're working with as we go through this. So to actually start a project, pretty simple. We can run forge init, and let's call that our contract demo. And I actually created two of those. So let's come back real quick and move that back out because we do not need two of those. And then, okay, sweet. So we should be good now with our contract demo. Yeah, here we are. So this is how, when you init a Forge project, how it's typically going to look. You have a source directory, and this is going to be where your smart contracts are living. In this case, it just includes a pretty basic little counter contract. You have your tests, of course, your script, of course, for deploying. And then when you come in here, this is where it gets kind of unique. Under source, you have a bunch of materials. For the most part, you're not having to deal in here very much if you're using this in the most simple way. So for now, let's just kind of look at what it looks like to use one of these contracts. So assuming I wanted to use that counter contract, all I would have to do is forge build, and it just compiled the contract for us. You can see it pop up over here in our out file. And then I can forge test, and that runs some tests for us, shows that it's all good. And one other thing that's useful to note is that if you need more, if, for example, your tests are failing and you need more information, 1V is the least verbose, 5Vs is the most verbose. So if I ran it that way, I get a lot more information out of my tests here. If you find yourself running into some problems. So most likely you're going to be using something like an Open Zeppelin contract or something kind of like pre-made that you're going to be extending. So for example, if you wanted to use Open Zeppelin, all you have to do is forge install Open Zeppelin. Let's make sure I spell this right. Open Zeppelin contracts. We'll just use their simple one. And that is then going to take that GitHub repo and pull it into the project over here as a Git module. So you have that entire repo that you can work with. So in this particular case, let's say we're trying to do a token contract, right? We can come into source and do, let's just call it demo token dot solidity. And we can then take our, we can then import that. Let me grab a token contract here. Yeah, so we can then just take a really simple version of a token contract, right? Where we're pulling in our ERC20 token out of standard Open Zeppelin contracts, setting it up here, and we are then good to go. We probably also want a test for that, just to make sure we're not doing anything overly stupid. So let's grab a appropriate test. Throw that in here. And then we can come back over, and when we forge build, and then forge test, we can see that we have our demo token test. Works great. It's working for us. When it actually comes time to deploy, assuming you've set up a testnet wallet and you have your private key for that, the deployment script will end up looking like, let me clear that, forge create, and then we need our RPC URL. So it actually has a node to talk to when it's deploying. That is erpc.pothum, which is the XDC testnet.network. And then we need to tell it a chain ID, and the Apothum network is 51. And then we need to include a private key. Of course, when you're doing this kind of thing, I would recommend using a burner wallet. This one, about to flash you a private key, but it's testnet, it's not connected to anything. So I guess go wild. It's not much to actually be done there. And then we need the path to our contract, which is over at demo token solidity. Tell it to call the demo token class, and then we pass it constructor arguments it needs, which if you're somewhat new to these, we have our constructor here. We give it a name, a symbol, an initial supply. And so for our constructor args, let's call this demo token. The symbol, let's say DTK. And then an initial supply. So when I call this, you see that it comes through and compiles the thing down, gets us a bunch of information. This is a dry run. So it's a good way to see how expensive the contract is, make sure everything's looking right. When you feel confident, you can call back your same function. Your forge create, and all you have to do is come in here and add broadcast. And now when it compiles, it broadcasts it out to the world. So we see here, we have the deployer. That's the public key of this wallet that you see the private key for here. Deployed to, that's where it actually deployed. And then we have the transaction hash. So there's your information. Make sure you save that somewhere that will be easily found. For now, I'm going to be lazy and put it in a notes.txt. And so that's now live. You've now deployed a contract onto the testnet. But there's a few other things you'll probably likely want to do here. So for example, that wallet, I just used it to deploy a contract. I can try to figure out how much is actually left in it. I can come in and use that cast binary that I was talking about earlier that ships with Foundry and do cast balance. I can list the wallet I was using. And then when I provide it a RPC URL, which was erpc.pothon.network. Yep. Okay. So we see the balance there. And it can also be very useful if I want to check the balance for that wallet for that contract I just deployed, right? I can do cast balance that wallet, the RPC URL, Pothon network. I'll remember that one of these days. And then ERC20 and give it the name of that contract. And I can see it has a balance of 18. Not very much, not super usable, but good enough for a demo. So that's the basics of, deploying a contract here. You can build this out as much as you need for whatever you need on chain, and then that's how you get out your deployment details. And then as you need ABIs and everything, just dive into the Foundry docs and you can see how to extract those in the format that you need, plug it into Hardhat, all of that. But just a quick run up for those of you that need it. Now, let's dive into Eliza. Give me just one moment. So for this, we are going to have my co-host Vlad join us. He made the plugin for Eliza on XDC. So he has some pretty good domain knowledge in this area that I believe will be very useful to everybody. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look at Eliza and the Eliza XDC plugin and everything that this involves. So first of all, going to eliza.how is going to be a good place to kind of get up and running. Something I will note though, Eliza has a version 1 and it has a version 2. And I would probably recommend sticking with 1, just because it's a bit more streamlined. 2 definitely does a lot more for you, but 1 is going to be, it's been around longer, more of the bugs have been worked out. But I will add Vlad here. Hey, Vlad, how you doing?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, good. Nice. I'm doing great. What about you? Nice.
I'm doing good.
Good.
I
Good.
just wrapped up a quick tutorial on deploying a ERC20 or XRC20 onto the testnet. So
Yep.
now is a great time to maybe share a bit with everybody about what you do about Eliza, kind of what you found that you can do,
Yep.
limitations, and then maybe kind of show everybody how to get started.
Okay. Okay. Let me share a screen
Definitely.
and tell you a little bit about Eliza. Uh, 1 second. Present. Share. Can you see the screen?
Let me add it up for you. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So as I got it, you didn't yet talked about Eliza, so it's better to make some overview about how to use it, right?
Yeah, I was just starting to go into it, so now's a great time to dive in from the top.
Yeah. Okay. So Eliza is a good framework to building agent, and it has a bunch of different plugins, as well as XDC plugin. What I'm gonna show you how the quick intro how to use it and how you can go deeper with it. So basically, you can go to Eliza web page and find all introduction and how to start and how to use it. And so I already have a project on my PC. So first of all, Eliza built on characters. So you have to make your character, and you can include it like a JSON file and load it like I don't know in different ways. For example, you can add it to N files, or you can load it like uh, add as parameters to run the program. So anyway, just imagine you already have it. You can find different examples, samples on Eliza repository, GitHub repository, or even on website. I already have one, what I used previously. And how it also worked, you need to include your plugin to Eliza config, to Eliza character JSON, to give Eliza imagination what plugins they have and what you will be used there. So I adding here our XDC plugin. So it's just like that. You just put JSON here, you put Eliza plugin. You can, depends on the version of Eliza what you use, you can install plugin like the dependency, or also depends on which version, like for developer, where you want to develop new plugins, you want to extend, enhance current plugin code or infrastructure or something like that. It's also depends what you're gonna do, but you have different options how you can connect your plugin. You can connect the plugin using dependencies like npm, ban, or something like that, or you can pull the whole project of Eliza with all packages and plugins there and start enhancing this. I probably have my plugins here on Eliza, and that's why I just included also to my project from here and continue using its. Let me find it. It's here. Plugin XDC. It's look like that. So I just need to include the name of plugin from here, right? It's plugin Eliza OS plugin XDC, and how I can go next? I just need to configure my N files and add to my env file these two environment variables, XDC private key, right? You can put yourself or stuff like that. And XDC network, it could be mainnet or testnet, like a POSM, right? So I'm not going to show you right now my env file because I have like my private key there. But then to run it, you just need to go to your terminal, to your developer console, and write PNPM, or depends on what are you using, run dev or stuff like that. Before that, you probably need to install all dependencies like PNPM install, ban install, anything like this. And you will see the logs. Probably will be see less logs because I have some debugging logs and some logs from my other plugins, and you will see what the actions from XDC were registered there. We have different actions like transfer, get balance, get portfolio, and you will see also in the logs on which port Eliza run its own web server to test web. Let me find where is it. Probably it's localhost 5173. Anyway, yeah, it's here. We go here, and here we can test our plugin, like for example, what is my balance? How it Eliza works. It uses some models, what you also define in environment, what models to use, understand which plugins and which action to use. Right now it's understand like we need to use get balance plugin. It run it. We have these actions here, so you can probably go to XDC plugin community, and if you want to enhance it or contribute and stuff like that, you can use it. It's over here, so it's XDC community, plugin XDC. You can start from here if you also need to work on the plugin stuff or stuff like that. And yeah, it works. It's give the balance of our wallet, so we also can make the transfer somewhere. We just need to write and we just need to run the action of transfer. So how actions works, you can find this full guide also here. Like if you want to develop your new action, you can just imagine what you can do with action, different things. But you need just describe different props here, like name, similes, description, stuff like that. And using these similes, Eliza will understand which actions to execute and to start. So this is simple as is, so we just can use it like that. Let me show how, for example, send 5 XDC to this, and we go to the logs and see start handling this information. I am using open router. It's much easier. Yes, it's transfer, of course. Yeah. So here we go. Do you think we need to go deeper with some Eliza code base, how it works, how to develop something? Any specific question? What do you think, Austin?
I think it would be nice to maybe take a look at the actual like interface for like designing an agent, right? So like if you're doing a chat, setting up like the knowledge parameters, personality parameters, those kind of pieces, and then maybe also I can start pulling up over here some of the docs on like kind of how it like interfaces with other things, kind of like how some of those plugins look. I think I think it's useful to see under the hood a little bit to understand how to use it effectively. So yeah, I think maybe if we look at some of the character templates.
Yeah, you mean like how to build character, how it works like that? So,
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. Like we can pull up the let's look at C3PO because
yeah,
that's such like a enigmatic character, right? That I think it's useful to see kind of how you design that.
yeah. Basically you have here, but Eliza can use. So let me start from the beginning. We can break down the character JSON into different things. First of all, it's describe a behavior of how to act or how to, I don't know, answer the question, what coming to Eliza from different interfaces, from different clients, like it could be web, it could be Telegram, Discord, and many more, what supports by Eliza. And first of all, it's here we can describe how to act and how to set up the behavior of this current character. So we can, I don't know, provide here some system prompt, but it will be already enough to start working with character to just to provide the system prompt. But you can enhance it, but you can upgrade it and extend with bio, I don't know, knowledge, message examples, how to act. It's all of this is just more better setup, just to give it more, I don't know, overview how to act in different situation. The next thing what exists in the character JSON is different, how to say, variables. What we can define here, it's like model provider. It's clients what to use, like clients we can have here, Telegram, I don't know, WhatsApp, stuff like that. Also, it could be secrets here, just like, I don't know, what to say, Telegram bot token, or I don't know, anything what we gonna use in different plugins. It's come to the secrets sections here. It's not existent current character. It's okay. But at the same time, Eliza looking for different places to load these arguments, variables. It's looking to .env file and at the same time in character. So you can define these things like settings, model provider, stuff like that, and also in env file if you want to be. But in one application, you can have different characters, but it will be already next conversation about this. So yeah, here maybe we can just look at different things. Yeah, here another example of I don't know, with Twitchert client, different model provider, secrets, stuff like that. And to get more imagination about what you can do with the plugins, I can show you some like my plugins, what I did before. For example, we have game what Eliza can play with people, with community inside the Telegram or Discord or different clients. So it's game what people can use to predict the different prices on different currencies, like for example BTC or stuff like that. So how it works, people Eliza agent start the game by itself, and people making some bets, and Eliza registering these bets, and after the game finishing, Eliza define winners and send crypto to the winners. It's also just imagination how it could be work with Eliza. For this case, we used providers. Providers give Eliza opportunity to get some data from different places. We have some action what starts the game. So we're just creating the game. It's some business logic what you can define there. We have different action what processing the bets from the users. So it's know how to process the bets, what looks in the chat, stuff like that. And we have API here also. We define a router for Eliza. That's why our backend outside of Eliza can use Eliza to submit different messages, to exchange messages, stuff like that. So this is another example of how we can use Eliza and for what else. And also a lot of stuff are you can find here in Eliza documentations about things what I just discussed about like actions, plugins, environment, stuff like that. REST API also, like create new agent, create room. So yeah, here is it. I don't know, should we go here? Like plugins, you can create your own plugin. It's just easy, you can just copy paste template and start creating your business logic. Yeah, providers. For example, for that game, we use provider what pull the price of currencies from CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, stuff like that, and different oracles also. Yeah, here we are. API. So we don't. This is probably a character. Yeah, you can see the character structure also over here. Like knowledge, plugins, how plugins works, what should be included there, settings. Yeah. So any other question you think we can go deeper? You are interested more? What do you
I think it would be also worthwhile.
Yes.
I might pull up the like goat repos because I think it'll be useful for people to also see that's another way to interact with it as a full framework. I think I didn't put together a demo for that because I feel like it's outside the scope of maybe what a 1 hour demo would be reasonable to show because it does so much. But I can share my screen here to kind of show people how to get started with that. But definitely appreciate you kind of giving inside
Okay.
scoop, having built plugins for Eliza previously. That's very valuable.
Yep. You're going to share your screen, right?
Yeah. So I'm
Okay.
going to share mine now. If I can find which one to share between a million different windows I got going on here. Just one moment. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So you have Eliza as the base framework. And there's plugins you can use within Eliza. That's the quickest way to get started, right? Vlad's already done the heavy lift of building out a XDC plugin for Eliza, which you saw how simple that is to include. Literally, you put it in quotes and you're off to the races and can start interacting with your wallet. When things get more complex, though, Goat can step in as a really useful tool. Essentially, Goat is a sort of a how would be a good way to describe that, Vlad? I feel like it's a very broad kind of like net that ties a lot of different things together, but it allows a lot of different things to communicate that
Like
typically you wouldn't expect them to, and to tie it into a model. And so, as you can see, there's quite a few very specific things that it's designed to work for. but it's also nice that it is fully capable with any EVM compatible chain, which includes XDC. And if you come down, probably a good place to get started is, it says under contributing, but these are the docs I found most useful, like actually setting up a project locally. And this video right here is really good. This guy's got a couple of videos. Click on it, go to YouTube. He did it better than I can. He explains this well, edits it well. So that's a good place to get started if you're looking at it and you're like, okay, Eliza plus XDC plugin has maybe some limitations that I'm running up against. Goat adds more complexity, but also at the same time, a lot more power. So, you know, pick up the foot gun and see what all you can do with it. But yeah, so if I would definitely start, yeah, probably with, if you're looking at a place to start in all this, with AI plus XDC, Vlad's XDC plugin is fantastic. Great place to start. But if you start hitting the wall of what the tech can do, it's probably time to come over to Goat SDK is what you're looking for. And if later on there's a good number of requests for a workshop on that, I can put that together. But there's only so much time. I don't want to keep you guys here for hours. But yeah, that's a good place to look as well. Its own rabbit hole. It's fun to play with, but at the end of the day, essentially what it comes down to is it's just a really powerful plugin. So if you're using Eliza, a lot of that stuff lives in the plugin. That's how Goat works. You can build your own as big or as small as you need. And I think that's probably about all I have, unless we have any specific questions come in. We're outputting to a couple different platforms. So if I miss a question from somebody, I apologize. I've got chats everywhere. Okay. But other than that, maybe oh, and I mentioned it at the top, but it is something I'll mention just as like a very practical consideration. There's a few different, so there's a version 1 and a version 2 of Eliza. Version 1 works fantastic, more stable, been around longer. Version 2 does have some additional features, which are nice for like workshopping your agent, all of that, but it is a little bit more unstable. And there's also multiple ways to install it. So be careful about that, to like pick away and stick with it. Probably wise to do it in a Docker container. They ship it with those. It'll just prevent you from ending up with like versioning collisions that'll get really frustrating at the 11th hour. So that's the only thing I would say to maybe watch out for. Because something you will notice, Eliza is in the middle of like a moving where the docs live. And so there is like the Eliza site, but a lot of times you're going to be looking for this eliza.how. That's where like the most recent maintenance is, where you'll find like a good recent list of plugins and everything. Although some plugins do still only live in, if I go to Eliza OS, this is something that you will definitely notice. There's eliza.how here, which is the site I just showed you. There is also a Eliza registry. I believe there's a link to that on here, but maybe they took it down. But okay, here, Eliza OS GitHub registry. And you'll see here, like, if we type in XDC, you see the XDC plugin here. I'm not 100% sure it's been brought over to here yet, because that is a manual. Oh, okay, sweet. It has showed up. But that's just something where, like, if you're searching, it's worth searching in both places, because I know that there was like kind of a slower manual process of them moving it between scattered documentation sites, trying to consolidate it into one. Because it is an open source project, so people are doing this out of the goodness of their hearts and own curiosity and wanting to put something cool in the world. So there's a lot of work being done there, but if you hit a dead link or something, don't get frustrated. The information's out there. Maybe just go through the GitHub and it's behind a different link. But yeah. Other than that, I think that's the most of it. Unless you feel like there would be anything good to mention, Vlad, that you think they might run into or to keep in mind that after having worked with it for a bit.
I don't think so, unless we have specific question, what people already try something and they need help or they need just something. Yeah.
Okay, then great.
Yeah, that's all.
Then if that's the case, I'll probably end it here. If you are in the dev sprint, you should have the information you need to like reach out to us if you have any specific questions, or like I said, if it seems like there's a lot of interest in like exploring Goat, I can put together something on that and actually like show you how to spin it up and like build something out with it. But that will be pretty implementation specific to the project that you're working on. So that's why I didn't show one way to do it. That'll just kind of depend on your own needs, but I can always help point anybody in the direction that would be helpful to them. So other than that, I will probably call it here, and I appreciated everybody for coming out. And I don't know, happy hacking. That sounds dumb, but I kind of like it. But all right, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
All right, see ya.
See ya.